One of my favorite stories of all time comes from art history. It's the year 1501, Florence, Italy, and there's a young visionary protege of rizz, and the world is watching what is he going to depict next. And after 3 years of working on his depiction, his statue of David, Michelangelo, announces his completion. Now, I love this story for a myriad of different reasons, and you can too if you draw the same ties by seeing yourself as Michelangelo, the sculptor. Which begs the question, what's David symbolic of? The future. Now, in the West, we live in a heavy compare and contrast culture. Whether that is with the people we know, the celebrities we see on the big screen, or the micro-influencers of social media, we tend to do this thing where we compare ourselves to others and put our self-esteem on the line because of it. Today, I will be arguing that the only person you need to be better than was who you were yesterday. And I'll be doing so by cross-examining the cultures of instant gratification, self-improvement, and wanting to be content. And with that, I've noticed that we want the quick fix. And that is not restrictive by age. Whether that is, I want my TikTok to load faster, or I want my bones to not ache, or I just want my paycheck now. What we fail to recognize when thinking about self-improvement is that it's not just the big decisions that are forming who we are, but rather the small ones that are just as important. We often think that in order to change ourselves, we need to change ourselves completely, or at least majority of who we are currently. But when you're building a boat, you don't get all the materials, wave a magic wand, and it's done. Now, that would be nice, sure, but it's not very realistic, is it? It's building the boat plank by plank, slowly but surely, that gets it done. James Clear is the author of Atomic Habits, and he writes this quote, which is, "The actions you take provide evidence for who you are." And in this book, he writes the 4 stages to break a habit, how to build a new habit. And I would take that even one step further, that he writes how to become your best self. The first stage, stage 1, noticing. He writes, and I would include myself that I suggest this too, is that what we often think we lack is motivation. What we probably lack instead is clarity. Now, we may say things like, if only I felt like working out. If only I felt like doing this project. If only I felt like doing blank. We say all these things that we want, but we don't actually make plans to actually do these things that we feel like doing. Which brings us to stage 2, wanting. Why do we do the things that we want? Because we like doing it. We want things because they're an option in front of us. So when this comes to habits, whether that's wanting to journal more, drink more water, or read, let's make life easy for our future selves. And so if I want to journal more, let's leave our journal on our desk so it's right there every time we sit down. If we want to drink more water, let's invest in a reusable water bottle that we always carry with us. Easy, ready at hand. Or if we want to read more, rather than putting it on our bookshelf, let's leave it on our nightstand. So when we roll over, open our eyes, the first thing we see is our book. Ah, convenient. Make life easy for your future self. This brings us to stage 3, doing. Thinking about it is not doing it. Talking about it is not doing it. Doing it is doing it. Malcolm Gladwell, another awesome author that I love, he's often accredited for his 10,000-hour rule, stating that if you want to be a master of any skill, you need to invest at least 10,000 hours into that one skill. So when that comes to habits, goals, and routines, we often think about the big milestones, focusing more on the destination rather than the journey. Which brings us to the final stage, stage 4, liking. As I said, we like to do things because we feel good about it. But when the reward is delayed or not there, we're more likely to move on. Big, ambitious goals are big, ambitious goals for a reason, because they're harder to accomplish. And I think narrative plays a huge role into this. We may say and have a goal such as, I want to be Now, that is great, but that is many months until you're actually fit. So if we change our narrative, our language ever so slightly to say something such as, I want to do this exercise this many times at the gym today. Now we're starting to feel good about ourselves, even just a little bit every single day. With consistency, we have the ability to change our habits. Take that one step further, we have the ability to change our identity. Now, 3 years to do something, to work on something, is a long time, especially if that is working on a discarded piece of rock. But Michelangelo, he chipped and chipped and chipped until slowly he saw the man he envisioned from the very beginning come to life from the raw impurities of marble. If you were to take anything away from today's speech, my speech, is that you should embrace this idea of not wanting to be perfect, to focus less on the destination, but more on the journey. And on the journey of incremental growth and self-improvement, just like Michelangelo, with the chisel in our hand, we too have the power to sculpt our future, even if that is just one small, deliberate choice at a time. Thank you.